Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it today. We have so much to talk about right here, right now. Some intense Josh Jacobs rumors that I don't even want to speak about. It's making me want to pull my hair out. And we also have the latest updates from the Raiders training camp today on a Saturday afternoon, August 5th, 2023. This is WiFiWillie. Let's get into it. Let's break all this down. Every update, the good, the bad, the really bad, and even the really good, and all the possibilities that could happen today. We're going to break this all down for you right now. If you have not seen this show yet, make sure you subscribe and like this video. Here we go, Raider Nation. What is up? Let me know how my audio is sounding. Let me know how everything is going. I want to hear from you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. And so what's on the agenda today, especially if you're watching this a little bit later, which I assume the majority of you are, the main thing is we have a new report about the Josh Jacobs situation, the possibility that he can go to another team and actually an AFC rival. And this is coming from his agent. This is pretty much coming from his agent. We're going to break this down and everything that could possibly happen. And we had the report yesterday of Jimmy Garoppolo, what he's doing at practice, how it went. And it wasn't too pretty, but there's been some bright spots today at practice for Jimmy Garoppolo and also some negative, but some bright spots overall for the defense. And we're gonna break that down as well. We're gonna start off with the Josh Jacobs situation. And a lot of you watching this are probably wondering, what the hell? Josh Jacobs in a Chiefs jersey? Well, this is sort of the predicament we're in right now. Right off the bat, you had a report talking about if Josh Jacobs was released, where he could likely go. And this is coming from Pro Football Talk. And from what we know and from what we understand, and we're going to break this down because we actually invited Josh Jacobs on the show via his agent, and we had an interesting response. And I think this actually goes into and relates with this newest report. Now, you see this from Pro Football Talk. Chiefs, Broncos among potential suitors if Raiders rescind Josh Jacobs tag. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? No, not JJ. No, you cannot do this to me. But okay, before we get into this, we have been talking about this kind of stuff for quite some time. So, back a little, and we'll hear from Zamir White where, if things aren't working out, this guy might be running back one. And I will say, I wouldn't mind it too much. I really like this guy, Zamir White, coming out of Georgia. We're going to break down alternatives in case this happens, with this whole Josh Jacobs situation. Now, we made this video. This is all the way back. It's like 2 to 3 weeks ago, right? But this stuff moves fast. And this is when Josh Jacobs made some bombshell allegations about the Raiders. Now, what did Josh Jacobs exactly say? There was a report by Albert Breer that claimed that Jacobs basically that the Raiders have been trying to offer Josh Jacobs a contract. That was the report by Albert Breer. And Josh Jacobs actually responded to this report, and he put the cap emoji. That is what he put. I could find the exact thing here in just a second. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because around this time when we saw Josh Jacobs sort of pushing back on the idea that the Raiders actually offered him a contract, which according to LaShawn McCoy, and we've noted this in our videos, the Raiders have not even offered this guy a contract until 2 weeks before the deadline. Now, let's just play this clip real quick, just in case you guys have not seen it, just real quick. Oh, we don't want to hear that. Who is that dumbass? We don't want to hear him.
Josh Jacobs about 2.5 weeks ago, and I'm talking to him about the contract situation. You know what he told me? He said the Raiders did not even offer him a contract. Whoa. So
I like that guy at the end. Whoa. How he does that right there. Whoa. Right? And so here's the thing, and I've said this before, and I'll just repeat it again real quick, then we'll show the cap thing, and we'll get into this other stuff. People in the chat are saying to hit that like button. Yes, hit that like button, a good free way to support the show, and it just really helps us out. But that aside, it's totally reasonable for the Raiders not to want to pay a running back a lot of money, right? We talk about this all the time. The position's devalued, yada, yada. I don't even have to go into that. That's boring. Most of you watching this are hardcore football fans. You understand what's been going on lately in terms of the running back position being devalued. Now, the problem for me, and I think the problem for Josh Jacobs here, is the Raiders really care about PR. The McDaniels and Ziegler regime really do care about PR. And this takes me all the way back to Peter King of NBC, his report inside the draft room of the Raiders when they selected Tyree Wilson. And Peter King acknowledged, and he thought it was funny, how one of the first things that Josh McDaniels said to Tyree Wilson, the edge defender who the Raiders picked at pick number 7, was how to talk to the media, right? And so that was a little odd. From the perspective of Peter King, he said he had never seen coaches really do that. So they care about the media. They care about optics, and that's why they're trying to make it seem like they're trying to offer Josh Jacobs a deal. And what we're going to reveal to you, and what we have revealed in our videos, and we're going to really elaborate on this right now because it's hitting a tipping point really as the regular season's around the corner, is the fact that they are trying to act like they're offering him a contract to look good in the media. And to me, I would rather them try to seem badass and not care what the media thinks, but at a certain level, they seem to really care what the media thinks. And I don't really know if that's the way that they should necessarily be going about this, but it is what it is. And shout out to Tedford Bond Patriot, one of our members, sending some love right there. Great comment. I want to just get this real quick. If McDouchebag lets Josh Jacobs go, Raider Nation needs to boycott Raiders like Bud Light. That's the only way Bull Cut will pay attention. Oh my goodness. And this is in Bull Cut, Mark Davis, right? And I think that is what is slightly giving me hope because I mean, Mark Davis is trying to trust these guys, McDaniels and Ziegler, and when all these bad things keep happening, that trust is starting to rip apart. And we've seen Mark Davis fire people before. He can Jack Del Rio. He can Hugh Jackson immediately. He can Dennis Allen. He's not afraid to can people. And, he essentially, I thought he stood up pretty strong with the Gruden thing, but he did essentially cave at the end of the day. But I think he did put up a little bit of a fight. But what I will say is, hey, there is light at the end of the tunnel if McDaniels is really blowing it, in the sense that I think Mark Davis could pull the plug, and I think he has more money now than ever. Now check this out right here. Okay, who's this crazy guy talking? So here was the thing. This was the cap. So this was Albert Breer saying that my sense is that an effort was really made. An effort was really made to grab Josh Jacobs, to negotiate a new contract between the Raiders and Josh Jacobs. And then you have Jacobs responding to this. And we showed it right here in this video 2 weeks ago in the Raiders Make Bombshell Allegations. And he puts the famous cap emoji right there. And this is July 18th. Not that long ago. Man, time moves fast. And let me just say real quickly before we get lost in time. I don't want to get too lost in time. Yeah, and just in case, you guys have maybe new to the channel, whatever, myself and my co-host, co-producer, the one who makes every single thumbnail, the one who pretty much really, the person who helps create a lot of the topics for this channel and whatnot, Dial Up Audrey. She will be joining me during the Raiders preseason game this Saturday. We'll be doing live play-by-play here, so I hope you all join us. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss it, right? So Jacobs is saying cap in response to Albert Breer saying that an effort was really made. And here's what always just struck my attention, and this goes all the way back to the Pro Bowl. So obviously Jacobs and his agent do not believe that they're actually trying to negotiate a contract, and now we have these Broncos rumors, right? And we have these Chiefs rumors too, which we're going to get into, and I'm going to give my verdict on what I think is actually going to happen. The Raiders versus Niners is on Sunday, or is it on, I believe it is on Saturday. Jimmy G versus his old squad. Oh, you're right, Sunday. So Sunday, 1 o'clock. Thanks for that clarification. Sunday, 1 o'clock, August 13th. We will be live on this channel. Thanks for helping us out. And And oh my goodness, here we go. Sound the freaking alarm. Tedford Von Patriot sending the love, helping us get to the next level right here. My guys, salute. Everybody say, Hail Tedford, my guy. Appreciate you. Dropping the fucking dough, helping us out, supporting. We're going in heaven now. He sent us to heaven. McDaniels is putting us in hell, and Tedford is sending us to heaven. Oh, yeah. F McDouchebag, F Bullcut, F Ziegler, F AB, F Biden, F Goodell, F Pence, F Pelosi, oh, and F Hillary with the telephone pole, the same pole with McDouchebag. Hell yeah. Crooked. I heard she's a little crooked. Look, guys, no matter your political affiliation, you could enjoy this show. We're just having some fun here. But appreciate you, Tedford. And look, that is the thing, man. I think we were checking this out the other day, and I think it's really what I think is always important to look at is sort of gambling, right? And because on a certain level, like, oh, who cares? It's gambling. Why does it really matter? Like, you know, this shouldn't be that important. But there are some serious gambling odds. And I think the market and finance does sometimes dictate what is going to happen, right? Like, these people are doing research, trying to figure things out. And when we're talking about McDaniels and his job security, this is going to be year 2. Then he got 2 more years on the contract. When you have that happen, how safe is his job? How safe is this guy's job? Drop the emojis on the screen. Appreciate you guys as well. Well, guess what? According to BetOnline AG, this is a gambling application and whatnot. People are making bets right now in terms of people who could be fired after this year. Who is going to be the first coach to be fired in 2023? And look, guys, as much as I criticize, I want McDaniels to work out. The best scenario is that the best scenario is he's completely right about everything and then it all works out, right? Like that's the best scenario. And then Mark doesn't have to waste money. And then all these moves actually make sense. But in the event that he is wrong about everything, well, BetOnline AG is saying that he has plus 700 odds of getting fired. He could be the first coach to be fired in 2023. Only other person is Buccaneers head coach Todd Bowles, who took over for Bruce Arians, and McCarthy, who is the Cowboys coach. And whenever you're the Cowboys coach with Jerry freaking Jones there, you know it's thin. You're on thin ice at all times. So, I mean, like, that's crazy that Ron Rivera has more job security than McDaniels, or about the same. Kevin Stefanski, I think they could turn it around with Deshaun Watson. And so, yeah, like there is something going on where I don't think he's at first I thought this dude was really safe. And now I think at a certain level, Bullcut could maybe flip the page. And there must be some legs to this if the gambling odds are heading in that way. You know, it's still not a favorite, right? But we will see how these odds change throughout. And hey, maybe even WiFiWillie might even place a bet. I might even have to place a bet. Because Tedford just donated to the show. And once things get tricky, I might have to use that donation from Tedford to place a bet on this. I think I'm going to have to do that. Oh, man, that's awesome. Appreciate you, Tedford, and all the love and the support for the show. Let's also show. So this is what really stuck out to me, and this is what really tripped me out, was sort of... Oh, man, and we didn't have the audio there for a while? Okay, my bad. Head coach Sean Payton. So this was the Sean Payton. So now we have this new report. We're going to get into this report. Sean Payton, this is around the Super Bowl. You got Josh Jacobs there, Mark Ingram, former Saint, former Ravens running back. Then you have Sean Payton, obviously former Saints head coach. And this is him as a Broncos head coach. He's talking about Josh Jacobs, and it's like he's trying to recruit this guy. Payton was hyping this guy up and even made a comment about perhaps Jacobs joining the Broncos.
Look at him, get him out of the West. Maybe we look at him.
Will you look good in orange? I think
yes, indeed.
Maybe. Would he look good in orange? Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, they're already freaking. There was already some flirting. In my opinion, there was already some tampering, but technically he didn't sign the tag, so he was actually, it's not tampering because he's actually not under control of the Raiders. So technically, based on what I know about how the NFL's rules are, I believe, just reading what I've read, that you actually can negotiate and talk to Jacobs right now since he's technically not employed by the Raiders. Mike Florio put it well, and we're going to get into his article the other day where he said Jacobs is as employed by the Raiders right now as you or I. He's technically not employed. So is this tampering? And this is the key thing he said. Maybe we look at him.
Get him out of the West. Maybe we look at
Will
him.
you look good in orange? I think
Yes, indeed. Maybe we look at him.
Maybe we look at him. You know what I mean? And that's where it got a little tricky for me. And it's making me sort of think, okay, is there some, that all the way back then, I was already thinking, all right, is there something going on? Is there a way in which Josh Jacobs is not on the Raiders? Because for a while, I was thinking, okay, what is Josh Jacobs' options right now? He's unhappy. They missed the deadline to negotiate a multi-year contract, so anything that him and the Raiders can negotiate at this point would only be for 1 year. Because like Ziegler said, we just didn't make it the deadline on time. Oh, shucks, we didn't make the deadline. It didn't seem like he really cared about the deadline. So it could only be a 1 year deal. So they could either do what kind of like what the Giants did with Saquon Barkley, where they give him extra $2 million on top of the 10, and then place a clause in his contract where they can't tag him next year, so he can hit the open market next year. But right now, Jacobs is the only running back holding out. He's the only running back not showing up, right? Like he's the only one who has this big of a problem right now. And the question is he going to hold out and pull Le'Veon Bell and miss the whole season? Or is he going to do what the NFLPA president, J.C. Tretter, former center of the Cleveland Browns, maybe even current, no, I think he's former at this point, where he said that running backs may have to milk injuries for their leverage and just maybe go on IR and still get paid on the tag. So you could hold out like a Le'Veon Bell, sign the tag anyways, milk an injury, and go on IR and still get paid. Or you can try to force the Raiders' hand and try to pressure them by making them realize, hey, I'm not going to show up for training camp. I'm going to try to do as little as possible for your team on this 1 year contract. I'm not going to be worth $10 million, so you might as well rescind my tag so I could become a free agent and then go sign with anybody. And the Raiders pretty much have until week 1 of the regular season to rescind Josh Jacobs' tag. So those are the options. Hold out, pull Le'Veon Bell, which is a little tricky because you don't get paid, or milk an injury and still get paid, or try to become a free agent, have them rescind the tag. Those are the three options. Yes, a trade is possible, but I don't see a team trading for a running back for $10 million. Maybe that's the case. Who knows? But we're going to dig in right now and check this out right here. Chiefs Broncos among potential suitors if Raiders rescind Josh Jacobs' tag, basically. Oh, my goodness. Now, we're really getting to this point, Genius Josh. We're talking about rescinding the tag with Josh Jacobs. I mean, come on, man. So we have this going on, and here's the big kicker. And I guess because there's only there's just a little bit. This is an intimate show, right? I could have made a shorter video and reached more people, but it's Saturday. I got the shirt on. I kind of want to go on a long walk or whatnot. So we're just hanging out. We're hanging out, right? We're hanging out right now. So I will say that we did reach out to Josh Jacobs' agent, and we talked about this on the video the other day, how that agent sort of clapped back at Vinny B. I mean, I could pull up the tweet. Maybe Audrey, you could find it and send it to me. Where I believe it's not Black and I forgot the name. I'm so sorry. I'm blanking on the name of the Black Label Sports Group. And, they sort of clapped back at Vinny B, who said the Raiders want to or have always been trying to negotiate with Jacobs. And they sort of clapped back like, oh, can you really do they? Can you talk to Ziegler for us? They're sort of mocking it. Jacobs is mocking the situation. Well, our team, basically Audrey and I, we reached out to Josh Jacobs' agent to see if we can get some more clarification. We can get a response. And fortunately, we did get a response, and I really respect them for doing that. And what they did is they just linked us to, they suggested to us to read Mike Florio's work. And Mike Florio, with this article we're about to read and check out and highlight, he says that he has a source. Now, if this agent is saying, hey, check out this article, and they're obviously endorsing the article, right? Maybe they're the source. Who knows? We can't confirm or deny that. But they obviously endorse a lot of the points in this article. And they're probably, look, if I had to just guess and I had to sacrifice my left, I'm going to get a little graphic here. I had to sacrifice my left nut and I had to gamble it and guess. I think I would guess that they probably fed Florio some information. That's what I would guess. I can't confirm or deny. But what we have here is a lot of interesting things where here are the options, and we sort of laid this out. You know, Jacobs accepts the $10 million. They rework a deal where he gets a bonus, or he just skips the whole season, or the Raiders trade him on a 1-year deal. And like at this point, I think this would be the best scenario for the Raiders on one level. You know what I mean? Like trade him on a 1-year deal or rescind the tag. Because here's the thing about rescinding the tag. And at first I was totally against this. I thought it was sort of messed up to even suggest rescinding the tag. And by the way, if this does happen, which it seems like it's heading in that direction, you know, Raider Nation's going to riot, man, because Derek Carr, Darren Waller, and Josh Jacobs, those three guys, are we really going to end up only getting a 3rd-round pick for all three of those guys? Getting absolutely nothing for Jacobs and Derek and only getting a 3rd round for Darren Waller. That's going to be embarrassing. That's going to make a lot of fans upset. Even if you want to move on from those players, which at a certain point, I think at this point we should cut the cord because we have a new regime and let's just change. Change is good sometimes, and sometimes you need to click the reset button, right? But the problem for me from a football perspective is getting nothing for these guys who are going to contribute on other teams. We should be getting a 1st-round pick at least between all three of these guys. That's at least a 2nd rounder, but we don't have that. And I think that's what's making a lot of people upset, even people who don't like these players, right? And so the chance that they can rescind this tag is a possibility. And one thing that's really interesting is Jacobs, we're told, meaning that they have a source, is aware of the possibility of getting the tag rescinded, of becoming a free agent and not getting his full $10 million. And he's unconcerned about it. He's chill about it. And by how this dude has been on social media, you got to believe that it's almost like he wants this. I mean, if I were to read into it a little bit, he's been clowning the Raiders on social media. He's been clapping back saying that they're not being honest about how they're trying to, work with his contract. And so Jacobs, we're told, is aware of this possibility. And like we said, Jacobs' agent told us to read this stuff. All right? So I don't, you guys do whatever you want to do with that. And so here we go. He knows that the 10.1 million won't be there if he's suddenly in free agent in late August and early September because all the teams have their rosters set up. So it'd be hard for him to get a fat deal. I'm going to let you guys know, though, the Broncos, they're not really financially committed to a running back, and Javonte Williams is coming off of a horrible ACL injury. He might even play in preseason this upcoming week on Friday. So, and they have more cap space than the Raiders right now. I would not, if I had to guess right now, and here's the kicker, let's just get this out of the way. He would be inclined to take the best deal he could get from a contending team, starting with the Chiefs. Per a source with knowledge of the situation, the Chiefs and Broncos are among the teams interested in Jacobs. So Jacobs' camp knows that the Chiefs and Broncos are interested in him if he becomes a free agent. That's it, right? And look, I don't like this. I want the Raiders to win games, but it's clearly they're not seeing eye to eye, the Raiders and Josh Jacobs, I'll say that. And so the Broncos could be an option, but when you're talking about winning a Super Bowl, that's not going to be it. But I do think the Broncos can offer Jacobs more money. And I think Jacobs on the Broncos would be hella shitty, but as a fan, it would sting way less than being the Chiefs. I really can't see this guy join the Chiefs. And especially when they play him like that, that would just be way too far. Like we have a Josh Jacobs jersey. He's one of my favorite players because I kind of like how frank he is with the media, and I do like that he trolls. I actually like his attitude and also the way that he plays. Now, if he's on the Broncos, I think Russell Wilson is such a disaster. He might not do anything anyways. But joining the Chiefs, man, I think that would just go way too far. But these people are considering it. And so between the Broncos and the Chiefs, I think if the Broncos offer him a substantial amount of money, he will take that. And if the Broncos are only offering him the same amount as the Chiefs, I think he's going to probably go to the Chiefs. Like if it's the same amount of money, he'll probably go to the Chiefs. So okay, let's take a look at this a little bit more. I mean, Florio was saying the Chiefs make most sense, and it's because of the Marcus Allen. We know Marcus Allen left the Raiders and went to the Chiefs, but yeah, I think he's just nostalgic for the past and likes history, and so it's like, oh, wouldn't that be crazy if it's like the past repeats itself in the present? But I think the Broncos make the most sense, and like I showed you guys a little bit earlier, we already had Sean Payton flirting. He's flirting with Josh Jacobs over here. We've already had that happen, so I don't know too much about that. You know what I mean? I don't know too much about the Chiefs, the legs of the Chiefs here. But like either way, there could be an open market if they rescind the tag. And the vibe from the Raiders is that they want to go year to year. They want him to play on the tag. And I think the main issue right now is, you know, Jacobs feels like the Raiders. I think what really pissed him off with the Raiders is not just the tag, is not just them not wanting to go long term, and not negotiating with him, because they didn't negotiate with him. I mean, I showed you guys a LaShawn McCoy, if you guys watched this a little bit earlier, and it's in some of my videos. The main issue is that they're leaking to the media that they are trying to negotiate with him. They're capping to the media. And I think that's what really pissed this guy off. I think that's what really pushed this guy to the edge here, is the fact that they tried to make it seem like they are trying to negotiate with him, even though they are not. And I think that sort of has been what's left a sour taste in his mouth. And I think if they would have just stood firm on how they only want to do the 1 year thing, made it not seem like they're trying to negotiate a long-term contract and he's just being stubborn, maybe he would have caved eventually. But now it seems like they've sort of gone too far. Why within the division, though? He's going to want to murder us because of the disrespect. Robert Hernandez, my guy, always bringing up some good points as well. Appreciate everybody supporting the show. Tedford Von Patriot as well with the great hat on. And then Robert Hernandez. Yeah, why within the division? And so we know the Broncos have been courting him. We know that the Chiefs have been courting him. The Broncos, I think, have been courting him a little bit more. And the reason why I think it's within the division is because of what I just said a little bit earlier. He doesn't seem like he likes Ziegler and McDaniels. Doesn't seem like he likes how they treated him with declining the fifth-year option. Not only declining the fifth-year option, leaking to the media stuff that apparently is not true. I think that sort of ticked him off as well. And playing him in preseason, the Hall of Fame game, I'm sorry, man, that was really disrespectful to play a Pro Bowl running back in the Hall of Fame game and pretend like you're not shopping him. And like, what if he would have gotten hurt in a meaningless game? And he played a good amount, and he was just wrecking fools because they were all freaking practice squad guys compared to him. So I think they disrespected him, and so now he wants to disrespect them. And I think the reason why Josh Jacobs has been so vocal on social media is because I think he's trying to let us know. Because think about it. You know, his brand is the Raiders. You know, once a Raider, always the Raider. All of his supporters are Raiders. And I think he's sort of trying to let us know, like, hey, this isn't what I want. This is what I feel like I'm forced to do. I still love you, Raider Nation. But unfortunately, this is what's happening. And so I think that's why he is sort of speaking out. And not only is he speaking out, and this is what I find so crazy about this, and this is very unusual. I mean, I rarely see this happen, and I've been following the whole NFL, you know, for a while, but I've been following the wider league more closely just this past 2 years. And just the agent getting involved. Now you have the Vinny Bonsignor, which we talked about earlier. where he says the Raiders have always been open to talking to Jacobs, and he says, what are you hearing from your contact Ziegler? Is there a chance? And of course, Josh Jacobs likes this right here. And what's so crazy about this to me is, like, usually the agent is always telling the player, get off social media, get off social media. But now the agent is on social media causing some stuff. So that's what's crazy to me about this whole entire predicament here, man. John Raider Snake, my guy, shout out to you. Hell yeah. And by the way, man, I am not seeing emojis on the screen right now. Can I get some people to drop some emojis? I want to know how you feel with some emojis. I want to see it cover this entire screen right here, right now. But John Raider Snake, if JJ goes to an AFC team, it will be the Chiefs. Broncos are a losing disaster. Oh my goodness, man. Sad. Yeah, I got the sad. I think I'm going to drop a sad emoji. I'm a little, I'm so like, the McDaniel stuff, like, I've yelled so much about it where I'm not even angry anymore. I'm becoming sad. I'm just becoming sad is all I'm doing right now. And like I said, we talked about this just a little bit, but I think Chiefs would piss the Raiders off the most. Here's the, okay, if I was Josh Jacobs, the reason why I would choose the Chiefs, even if the Broncos offered more money, is because you got the chance at the Super Bowl, and you're probably not going to have that much wear and tear because, the Chiefs pass the ball a lot. They also have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They also have Jerick McKinnon. They also have Pacheco. So you may not be utilized that much. You may actually have a committee, and you may only be utilized in the red zone or for inside power running. And then you got Andy Reid as your coach instead of Sean Payton. Objectively, as of late, Andy Reid is higher than Sean Payton right now on the totem pole. So that's the main reason. But if Jacobs just wants a contract, and I think if the tag was rescinded, I think that, oh my goodness, here we freaking go. Tedford Von Patriot sending the most love possible. The heavens have been awakened. I think if McDouchebag lets JJ go, he may as well cut Devontae Adams so he can join Carr in New Orleans. And while he's at it, cut Max Crosby as well. That way McDouchebag and Bullcut can leapfrog happy. They are $150 million under the cap. Destruction of the Raiders done slither back to New England. Oh my goodness. I think they may need, look, with this Jacobs thing, they may need to be sent back to New England. Tedford Von Patriot, so much love. I really appreciate that. You don't understand how much that means to me and how much that really helps this channel and everything here. So appreciate you. But okay. And just to stay on theme to what we're saying here, in term, if he's going to go to any AFC West team, I would rather it be the Broncos because it will be more of a disaster. It will be more of a disaster. He might even still lose to the Raiders if he's on the Broncos week 1. Maybe he wants to play the Raiders week 1. Maybe he wants to help feed that playbook to Sean Payton with another former Raider and former Patriot on that team, Jarrett Stidham, who's paid handsomely for a backup quarterback on that team. So I do think there's that, and I would want him to go there. But if he does go to the Chiefs, I think that's going to, the betting odds for McDaniels getting fired is going to skyrocket, and there's going to be no way that, McDaniels could come back from that unless the Raiders ball out. And we're going to give some updates on training camp and the Raiders balling out this year with their quarterback situation, unless Aiden O'Connell, the new number 4, unless this guy really freaking turns out to be a gem, we'll just break down the reports and be objective, and I'll let you guys give your. But shout out to Tedford, man. All hell Tedford, man. Send Tedford some love in the chat. Praise Tedford Von Patriot, man. Really keeping us going here, but. Cutting Devontae Adams. Now, the Devontae Adams rumors, look, we made a video about this, and we were, crucified. But now that this Jacob situation is happening, and I also want to point this out, in terms of cap space for the Raiders, and maybe Mark Davis is giving permission for this to happen. If we really are going to fully rebuild, maybe Mark Davis is giving us permission for this. Because I'm looking at Jimmy Garoppolo here, and based on how this guy's been performing, and we're going to break down his performance thus far, based on how it's been going for this guy, I mean, it's just... Here's the thing. When you have people who are always defending the Raiders and on McDaniel's nuts, you know, and always trying to be positive, some reporters from... I'm not going to even name the names. I'll name them a little later. When you have people who are always on McDaniel's jockstrap, and even these people are saying Jimmy G looks bad in practice, that's how you know it's getting pretty bad, bro, okay? That's how you know it's getting pretty bad, when the people who are constantly, all over McD, Josh McDaniels, even they are saying, whoa, this Jimmy G thing does not look good right now. And so I'm looking at the base salary of everything going on, and I'm looking at Jimmy Garoppolo's deal, and I'm also looking at Josh Jacobs' deal. And here's the thing about the Jimmy Garoppolo. Let me just move myself out of the way. Here's the thing about the Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, basically he has no bonus. He has $1 million bonus. The Raiders could essentially move on from this guy whenever, especially if he re-injures his left foot. They could definitely pull the plug on him, and they will get all this money back. Now the Raiders have what? $3.7 million in cap space. And then you got Jacobs at $10 million. So they have low cap space. They have the third lowest cap space in the entire NFL. That's a fact. Right now. If you get rid of Jimmy because it's not working out and maybe the injury thing is still going on, if you rescind the tag from Jacobs, well, the Raiders clear up $32 million in cap space, and then they have the most cap space in the NFL. And then you have a tank season with Brian Hoyer. You have all these things happening. Appreciate you, Enrique Felix. Appreciate the love there. And if you do all that, then the Raiders are really primed for an amazing rebuild, and they have about $32 million in cap space going into next year. Then they have the number 1 overall pick, most likely, or at least a top 4 pick if they're winning less than 5 or 4 games. And then you got all these players. You still got Devontae. You still got Crosby. Maybe you move on from Devontae at that point because next year you're going to be able to get out of it financially much more easily. And if that's the case, the Raiders would fully be primed for like a crazy, insane rebuild. And that could be a possibility if this is all going south in that direction. Now, we did talk about this, and
which one of these?
And a lot of people sort of mocked it, this whole thing with Aaron Rodgers. And I'm talking about this because Tedford, people could say what they want about this comment, but there is some legs. There is some legs to it. And a lot of people just don't want to hear it because it's negative. Devontae, he's trying to be as positive as he can, but if Jacobs becomes a free agent and joins the Chiefs, I don't know how much more positive Devontae can be. And if Jimmy G continues to struggle in camp, how much more positive can this guy be? I mean, he wants to be a Raider, he wants to cheer for the Raiders, but at a certain point, what can you do? And then you got Aaron Rodgers over there in New York, and what does he do as of late? Well, he takes a pay cut. He takes a $35 million freaking pay cut. Insane. It is actually the largest pay cut in NFL history is what Aaron Rodgers just did. Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I do like logic, and I do think that sometimes you could use reasoning to guess certain things. Now, why in the hell would Rodgers take a $35 million pay cut? Okay, he says there could be some players available at a trade deadline. Is he really going to take a pay cut to get who? Dalvin Cook? Or who is going to be available? Or maybe David Bakhtiari, what is he, like a 40-year-old tackle from the Packers? Who would Rodgers take a who would Rodgers take a record-breaking pay cut for? To me, you're not going to you don't take a pay cut for that cap to roll over next year. No. When you take a pay cut like that, that team is going to use that damn pay cut. You don't leave $1 million on the table for no reason. That could feed family members. That could do so many things for your life, even if you're as wealthy as Aaron Rodgers. You don't take a pay cut for no reason. And $35 million is insane. Now, could this be the reason?
I guarantee you there's going to be stories out there now that Davante Adams wants out of Las Vegas.
So you got Carton, and this is him talking about the Rodgers pay cut, and then you're looking at all these things, and it's just sort of like, why would this guy take this pay cut? Is it to get his favorite receiver in the world? I mean, let's just think about it. And look, I don't think this is immediately happening, but if there was any player that you could think about and say, oh, this is why this is. Let me say it like this. If he takes the pay cut and it's for Adams, then everything would make sense. If he takes the pay cut and they don't sign anyone as big as Adams, then nothing makes sense. And I'm sorry, people are talking about Julio Jones and Jarvis Landry. Those guys are not going to be worth close to $35 million. I know one guy who's going to be worth close to $35 million. So that's, look, I'm not saying this is for sure happening, but I'm definitely saying this is something we got to take a look at. This is something that we got to take seriously.
It sounds like
we can't
out there now that Davante Adams wants out of Las Vegas. And now all of a sudden,
Now look, if the... Okay, yeah. So, I've talked about this before. And by the way, shout out to Ted for Vaughn Patriots supporting this show. And we got more people supporting this show as well. We're going to break down what other people are saying. We're going to get into the latest of training camp. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And I also want to look at all these reports going on. Enrique Felix showed us some love. Appreciate you, my guy, riding them ATVs. Hell yeah, man. Good to see it. And then we have a Boba Fett. And I don't know if this is a Doja Cat, maybe, an inverse of that. And it's Boba Fett. Who knows? Oh, Boba Fett, Star Wars. Sorry, okay, boo me. I haven't seen Star Wars in a long time. It's been a while. McGruden fumbled worse than Brady. Free John Gruden. I'm sorry. I'm a Gruden lover. I'm a Gruden lover. If I need to be shackled in jail for loving John Gruden, you know what? Put the cuffs on me. Send me straight to jail for loving JG. Love that guy. So stoked that he's back in the league, man, doing some things. And appreciate you, Boba Fett, sending that love there. But, okay, so I think we've exhausted the Jacobs thing. And Zamir White, actually, and I want you guys to check this out. I was watching the press conference earlier. He was asked about Josh Jacobs. Let's hear what he had to say.
Yeah.
How are you mentally preparing yourself for a season where...
Huh? And so, yeah, let's take a look at what he had to say there. Appreciate you, Boba Fett, and appreciate you, Enrique, there. Appreciate that love.
You are the guy, but like Josh can come back at any time, right?
Anytime.
So the question is that, hey, how does it feel being the number one guy when Josh Jacobs could be back at any moment, right? And, Zamir White, who is now pretty much the number one running back, is acknowledging this.
Honestly, bro, just doing my part.
And I really like this Zoomer language that he's doing, talking to him. Honestly, bro, like he's somebody who he's like in a group chat with. I love it.
Now I'm grinding, bro. That's what I'm focused on right now. I just honestly, bro, just doing my part, man. Just coming in daily and like just locking in on film and working and yeah, man, just head down grinding, bro. That's what I'm focused on right now. Yeah, that's it for me.
Here's the thing, man. Like McDaniels, I'm not supporting this guy right now. He's got to prove it, right? But just because we don't, a lot of us are critical of McDaniels doesn't mean you got to hate on some of these players, man. Some of these players are cool people, seem like they're ready to work hard. Zamir White seems like a nice young man, so I really support him, and I really like his game. And we actually made a short little movie on him called Zamir White is Tougher Than You. You could search that. Just search Zamir White WiFiWillie, and it's a great little short video we made when he was first drafted, and great story.
Do you talk to him much?
Yes, sir. We do talk a lot.
So yeah, he was asked, "Do you talk to Josh Jacobs much?" And he says, "Yeah, they do talk a lot." So Josh Jacobs is in Zamir White's ears, so the Raiders better watch out. Jacobs might be, putting some messages in this guy's head.
He's holding up.
Josh is a great guy, so yeah, he's pretty good. He's fine.
I'm curious with Brandon and Amir, you guys.
That's how you know it's getting really awkward. So how's Josh Jacobs holding up? And he's like, yikes, I don't want to answer that question. But Zamir White, man, we'll probably see this guy in preseason this upcoming Sunday. So, really check him out. And if you don't know his whole like life story from coming out of college and all the shit he battled, man, it's crazy. So I would really check that out if you have not yet. So Jacina Anderson, and this is going to be the last I say about the Jacobs stuff, and then we'll move on to training camp. She's saying food for thought, and I didn't get a response from her. She does respond sometimes, and she's an insider. I mean, she'll hang out with Roger Goodell sometimes. She does know some people, but she says the Raiders are already pocketing the cost and future proration of the tag or an enhanced one-year deal as long as it remains unsigned. Now, what does that mean? That's a lot of mumbo jumbo, right? But from what I gather and looking it up and thinking about it, and I tried to get some clarification, but unfortunately I didn't get a reply as of yet. But it basically, you know, she's basically capping back at Florio, who says that the Raiders may rescind the tag. And obviously you'd rescind the tag to clear up the cap space, right? So what she is pretty much implying here, from what I can gather and what I can determine, is that the Raiders are already pocketing the future proration of the tag or an enhanced one-year deal as it remains unsigned. Now, it seems like she's claiming the cap space they have right now is already under the impression of Jacobs not signing. So the Raiders have like $3-point-something million in cap space here, 3.7, basically. So meaning like they might not even have the cap space for this guy to sign. Obviously, there's going to be some cuts later on but this is the top 51, meaning this is talking about the top 51 players counting against the cap. It's not talking about all the practice squad guys who are on the roster right now and all that stuff. So it seems like they would have to clear up some things in order for him to sign the tag anyways, which makes me a little worried. It makes me think that maybe they're just planning on rescinding it and they're not planning on him joining anyways. That's what I think, and that sucks, but it's heading in that direction, man. So let's try to go on a more positive note. We're going to try to go more positive here at this point. The Jacobs thing is crazy, and I feel like it was the biggest news today, so I wanted to get into it and talk about it. And so people are upset about the Saints. There's Raider Nation and there's now Saints Nation, and it seems like the Saints are like the protest. It's like a protest against McDaniels. And here's what I've always said: I feel like the people who are really supportive of the Saints right now are actually so passionate about the Raiders and so frustrated and emotionally involved with the Raiders and care so much that they're willing to take a look at the Saints and be sympathetic to that team as their NFC team, because the Raiders are in the AFC. Then you got another team in the NFC. They don't conflict. They don't really compete against each other. And I think people feel like, hey, you know, I'm so passionate about the Raiders. I'm so frustrated with the Raiders. I care so much that, you know, the way things are going are making me really upset. And I almost feel like I need to almost protest some of the decisions happening right now. And I feel like the Saints are the embodiment of that protest against the Raiders. And I think there's nothing wrong with supporting players and coaches like John Mother effing Gruden, while they are in a different uniform elsewhere, as long as it's not the Chiefs, as long as it's not the Chargers, the Broncos, or the freaking Niners, or the Patriots, as long as it's not those teams, it's really not anti-Raider in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of people are just saying, hey, I'm happy for those guys. I've rooted for those guys, some of those people who are in leadership positions for decades of my life. And it's just, you know, and you know, you got loyalty to the Raiders, but you also have loyalty to people who you supported and rooted for, and you're not going to just throw that away for nothing. Well, either way, we have a future to look forward to in terms of the Raiders, and we have the Jimmy Garoppolo right now rocking the tinted visor. Look, at least the dude's practicing. So I'm going to be positive there and say at least the dude's practicing. He did not leave practice early. He did not have a predetermined day off. We do not know when the next predetermined day off is for Jimmy G. I've said it before on this show. I would like to know. I would like to know that way. And I know McDaniels is not going to do that, right? But I would like somebody to say, hey, just when's the next one? When's the next one? Because it just seems like they're sort of calling it predetermined, even though it's probably not. It's probably not. And at least we've only had two. At least we've only had two. Predetermined day off and then the pitch count. So Jimmy G rocking the tinted visor and the quick throw drill, doing some quick throws. And look, the dude is good at quick throws, so at least he has that, and hopefully that could work out for him in McDaniel's offense this year if he can stay healthy, which is always the question. And look, we don't know necessarily if this is 7-on-7. So here's the thing about training camp, and here's the thing about practice. There's 7-on-7, And there's 11 on 11. 11 on 11 for those of you who are newer to football. That means that it's just sort of like, it's pretty much just like a regular game. 11 players on each side, basically a scrimmage. When you got 7 on 7, that's a little different where it's sort of like, you know, there's no pass rush. You only have the DBs, you only have the receivers, the backs, the quarterback. That's all you got. So 7 on 7, usually the QBs look really good. And usually the QBs do quite well because you don't have a pass rush. You know, it's pretty easy for the most part. Not super. I mean, I'm not going to call football easy, but you're supposed to do well in 7 on 7 as a QB. That's the consensus. That's what people say. Look, that's what people are saying about Carr right now. They're saying, yeah, he looks good in practice because he's only doing 7 on 7. We'll see when we get to 11 on 11, right? Like, hey, I'm trying to be objective here. So that's the whole thing. Now, Jimmy G, he threw a deep ball bucket to Devontae for 40 yards, and we've been waiting to see. Yeah, no, exactly. No lineman on 7 on 7. So Jimmy G, deep ball right into the bucket to Devontae Adams for 40 yards, followed immediately by a strike to Jacoby Myers, 25. So it seems like we're getting the deep ball down. We've heard all throughout training camp, this is undeniable. You know, it is just the truth. He struggled with the deep ball. And not only has he struggled in the deep ball in camp, but he's struggled his whole life, his whole career with the deep ball, even in San Francisco. And the positive people would say, hey, well, this guy's good in the red zone. That's his game. He's good in the short passing. Hopefully. You know, I don't want to waste Devontae's time. I don't want to waste Max Crosby's time. I don't want to waste our fans' time. So hopefully. But we don't know really if this was 7 on 7 or 11 on 11. And I would like to know if this was 11 on 11 or something like that. I would be so stoked. I'd be so happy for Jimmy and Devontae in the offense, but we don't quite know. Now, here's the kicker. Okay. And by the way, man, we have such a great amount of people here randomly, spontaneously going live. Get those likes up if you have not yet, and drop some emojis on the screen. I want to see you lay it on the line. I want to see your emotions. I want to see what you have to say. I want to hear from you there, Raider Nation. So drop those emojis on the screen. And you got Vinny B. And here's the thing. When Vinny B Vinny B is always very defensive of McDaniels. Vinny B is always, you know, trying to defend the regime. And it makes sense. Like, I'm not hating on the guy for that because, you know, he's trying to get exclusive interviews with Mark Davis. He often does. And, you know, same thing with McDaniels. And, like, to be safe, you might as well just do that. Give the regime the benefit of the doubt. Fortunately for me, because I'm sort of independent, I'm more of an independent, you know, person here with regards to the Raiders. I'm allowed to be, you know, a little more critical, and I have that freedom because I'm not gonna get the interview with Genius Josh anyways, right? So that's the benefit to what I got going on here. His benefit is that, yeah, he can't be that too critical, but, you know, he's able to get some exclusives with these guys. And this is what I find so interesting. The guy who's always defending the regime, when even he is saying this, when even he is saying another shaky day for Jimmy G at camp, feels like he's thinking too much, holding on to the ball too long, and then making unsure throws, man, that makes me worried, bro. When the guy who is always defending the regime, when even he is saying, look, I got to keep it real, and I got to at least report that the dude's not doing too well at practice today. To me, that's scary. That's scary because on a certain level, he could have said, like, hey, you know, he looked good here, but yeah, had a little bit of trouble here. But overall, I think he's trending in the right direction. He's trending up. But instead, he had to sort of just be like, you know what? He's thinking too much. He's holding on to the ball, making untrue throws. And look, and I want to clarify something, guys, because a lot of people think that I'm like anti-Jimmy G. I'm familiar with his game from San Francisco, but I'm never against the players. I'm never against the players because to me, unless they do something really bad, most of the time, they are just like, they are basically, and shout out to Raider Reaper sending some love, Las Vegas Patriots versus New Orleans Raiders, who you got? Oh my goodness. Las Vegas Patriots versus New Orleans Raiders, who do you got? You guys let me know in the chat. Who would you get? Who do you think would win between the Las Vegas Patriots and the New Orleans Raiders? Let me know in the chat. I want to see it. But yeah, to me that like I'm never hating on players because players are just like people trying to get a job. That's how I look at them. They're just trying to get a job, trying to make it in the league, trying to do the best they can. Coaches are usually in a more cozy position because they got the fully guaranteed contracts. They still get to get paid, even if you fire them. And they're usually a little more shady, and that comes with having to manage the team. And so Jimmy G, to me, this shaky day, this is not necessarily his fault. He's being placed in this position. He was hired even though he has this foot issue. That's what's going on. So whenever I'm talking about, the shortcomings of the offense and training camp, this is directed at our offensive genius head coach, Genius Josh. I mean, Jimmy G is just a guy trying to get a job and do what McDaniels asked him to do. But it's shaky. It's hard. Maybe McDaniels' scheme is just so complex that even Jimmy G can't get it, even though he has been in New England before. Now, here's some positive. The offense did look good at the start of practice, but tapered off towards the end. 3 interceptions for Jimmy G, Amik, Trayvon, and Peters hauled in picks today. So just in case you missed it, yesterday there was 4 interceptions for Jimmy Garoppolo, and then today there were 3. So over the past 2 days, there have been 7 interceptions for Jimmy Garoppolo. Jaden Grant had one of the picks, and I'll just show just for yesterday. So in terms of yesterday, Spillane, who's the new linebacker, got a pick off Jimmy, and so did Jacorian Bennett, and so did Isaiah Pull-Em-Out along with Jayon Grant. So, hey, I mean, look, to be positive, it could be the defense is just out of nowhere, freaking amazing, ready to throw them bows and ready, right? Like, I want to believe that, right? That the defense is just amazing. But what I want to know is this 7-on-7. Because if this is 7-on-7, then that's on the chemistry between the quarterback and the receiver. And one of those parties is messing up, likely the quarterback, But if this was 11-on-11, then I would be like, okay, well, maybe the defense is just super dope. Like, maybe the defense is making some serious headway here, and the pass rush is getting to them. Maybe Jerry Tillery looks good. Maybe Bilal Nichols looks better. All of that. But that happened yesterday. And then, like we were saying, today looked good at the beginning, but then really fell off towards the end. 3 picks for Jimmy. 4 yesterday, 3 picks. Marcus Peters, Amik Robertson, and Trayvon Merrick. And then he elaborates here, and this guy was at camp, so, let's just listen to what he has to say. It wasn't all bad for the offense. Back in full pads, they ran the ball more, and Zamir White showed good burst. Play action game also created plenty of openings. On Jimmy G, it almost looked like the script today was to take away Jimmy's first look and see how he responded. He held onto the ball fairly long through multiple reads. And here's some positive. Aiden O'Connell finished with a nice 2-minute drill to close out practice. And here's the silver lining and the only hope that I see for the Raiders. If we're just assuming that these reports are all true and Jimmy G really is looking this bad in camp, well, Aiden O'Connell does not seem like he's throwing that many picks. And he is a young guy. And the thing that I do like about the dude is like he has, on draft day, I did my video about him and I tried to dig a little bit deeper into him. I like Aiden O'Connell because he's dealt with some adversity in his life. Like his brother passed away like while he was playing in Purdue, super sad. And he also has great size. I mean, if you look at him on the football field with these other people, he's bigger than Jimmy G. He's bigger than Brian Hoyer. He's a big dude. So some of these other quarterbacks like Bryce Young, even Jake Hayner coming into the league, and even Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who we saw this past weekend playing for the Browns during preseason, these guys are all like way too small to like start week 1 in the NFL. Aiden O'Connell's not too small. He's not. So I do look forward to seeing him this Sunday, and I hope you guys join me when we do live play-by-play. I look forward to seeing this guy play because I think there is a possibility that he could be something special. We might need this guy if Jimmy G's really not too hot. And so O'Connell did throw a turnover-worthy play and missed a deep shot to Lacey, but overall showed good command and accuracy and capped off with a good touchdown to Keelan Cole. In the middle of the offensive line looked good. And then Thayer Mumford and Van Roten have been winning on the right side in terms of first-team reps. We have Mumford slightly beating out Jermaine Illuminor, which is very interesting to see. But the key takeaways for this guy who works for the local news in Vegas, saying that the defense won today. Jimmy G is going high and low. Jacoby Myers looks good. Illuminor not too hot, and then Keelan Cole is actually playing with some heat. So that's good to see from those guys. Good to see Thayer Mumford, man. If Thayer Mumford ends up being a decent starting right tackle, I mean, that is a huge steal. That's a huge steal. Bennett almost picked off Garoppolo in 11-on-11, but just dropped an easy one. So it could have been another 4 picks today. Luckily for Jimmy G, because Jacorian Bennett dropped it, it was only 3 picks. But let's just, look, I'm going to try to be objective and say, hey, I'm going to give the defense a little bit of praise here, Marcus Peters and Jacorian Bennett on the outside. Is that better than what we had last year with Rock Yassin dealing with injuries? We had to start Amik Robertson at some point. Like, our cornerback room is objectively better this year compared to last year. So hopefully that's, some silver lining here. And Vic Tafer saying don't sound the alarms, but go ahead and locate them. So we gotta go find the alarm. We gotta go find the emergency brake, the fire hydrant. We have to locate it here, because Jimmy G 1 for 7 with 3 drop picks in a scrimmage to close out practice. Oh my goodness gracious! Oh my goodness gracious! And the Raider dude, once a Raider, always a Raider. McDaniels and Dave Ziegler treating Raiders like crap. When does McDaniels and Ziegler become Raiders, eh? Well, unfortunately, McDaniels and Ziegler as well are going to be once a Raider, always a Raider. And it could be fortunate. Look, I'm always leaving the door open, dude. So I know I talk mad shit on McDaniels and Ziegler. I know I do. I'm not going to lie about that or anything. But I'm also going to say I'm leaving the door open. You could prove me wrong. I don't believe in them right now. But you can prove me wrong, and I could be convinced. I just need to see wins. I need to see results, and then I will say, hey, you were right about everything. But they are going to be once a Raider, always a Raider. Even though I don't like Genius Josh, even if he gets fired this year, he's going to be once a Raider, always a Raider, just like some people who have left this team recently. But appreciate you, the Raider Dude 30. And look, treating players like crap. I want people to focus on him saying that, about treating players like crap. Here's what happens when you treat players like crap. They go to your division rivals. They go to the Chiefs and the Broncos. That's what happens when you treat players like crap. They do things purposely to F you, to screw you. They get personally pissed off, and they might even make a bad financial decision because they're so pissed off at you. We've seen it happen, man. What about people rage quit jobs? It's not always smart to rage quit a job. You need to get your check. You need to get your money. You should probably plan it out, have another job lined up. But people rage quit jobs because when you get treated such like crap, you're just like, you know what? I don't even care if I'm going to have to take out a credit card here. You've pissed me off. You have pissed me off, and I'm going to dip out. Deuces. I've rage quit at least 3 jobs. Mediterranean restaurant in the Westfield Mall in San Francisco. Man, that manager was a huge bitch. I remember I was like sick and she made me work, and then she said, oh, I think you should just quit drinking. And I was like, bitch, I have not even drank today or yesterday. I'm going to stop cussing. Sorry if the kids are in the room. Cobb's. Okay, I don't know if I should name names. A comedy club in San Francisco. I also rage quit. They pissed me off. They treated me like crap. I'm not going to name the name of the comedy club, but it was a BS job, and I had to walk out of there. So Jacobs, same thing. Pissed off, going to a rival, man. That's what happens. So Garoppolo, it's a little bit of positive on the 7-on-7 red zone drills with no linemen. He was cooking, according to The Athletic. He was cooking to Sean Reed, but 1 for 7 with 3 drop picks in a scrimmage. A scrimmage, I'm going to assume, is 11-on-11 to close out practice. Only completing 1 pass. Damn, that is bad. That is bad. Yeah, I mean, that lady at the mall really did piss me off. Yeah. And I had a manager. Okay, I don't want to get too deep into this. Okay. Okay. My wife is telling me to. No, it's not that. Guys, I did not say that business. Okay, anyways, my wife's saying to stick to the news. So that's a cause for concern. Hopefully they turn it around. And then, so here's the thing too. We had this scrimmage against the Niners, and I'm really curious about this. So tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, it's tomorrow. Are you serious? Raiders versus Niners scrimmage. I believe it is tomorrow. Wow. Let's see. Okay. Joint practices August 10th and 11th, followed by the preseason opener. So not quite tomorrow. What we have here is we have the scrimmage against the Niners on the 10th and 11th. So it's going to be on Saturday and Friday. So we're going to see if Jimmy G is going to participate in that scrimmage. Can he handle getting cracked? Or, it's probably going to be no contact, but can he handle, pretty much playing football? It's going to be pretty much like live playing football. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But it's pretty much going to be playing live football around that time. Oh, right. You're right. It's Thursday and Friday. My bad. So Sunday, 13th, 10th and 11th, the 12th is Saturday. So, hey, that's going to be very interesting because this is going to let us know the health of Jimmy Garoppolo. If Jimmy G does not participate on the 10th and 11th, and fortunately for him, Nick Bosa is holding out. Nick Bosa is holding out right now. He wants a fatter contract. He's probably going to be the highest paid defensive player in the league. And so luckily, Bosa will probably not be there. I think this guy's going to hold out all the way to week 1. So you're getting a little lucky there. But 10th and 11th, if Jimmy G is not playing there, and we got O'Connell, Brian Hoyer playing against the Niners, because here's the thing. The scrimmage is the real shit. The scrimmage is, where the starters actually play. And preseason, it's pretty much people who, you're just scouting, practice squad guys, right, all that stuff. So if Jimmy G is not playing in this, that means he's not good still. And look, we got a month. We got 30 days. Once we hit August 10th, it's 30 days until the first freaking game. Are you pumped up for the first game? Win or lose, Raider Nation till I die, I'm still pumped up for the first game. I don't give a shit if we're blown out 50-0. I'm still pumped for the first game. I don't think that's going to happen against the Broncos because of Russell Wilson. He's a kind of a disaster. I think he's kind of been a little too much of a square, and it's gone a little too far for Russell Wilson. So I'm not too scared of Russell Wilson. I'm a little scared of Sean Payton in a certain way in that defense, and especially if they get Josh Jacobs. But I ain't scared of Russell. I ain't scared of Russell Wilson. So cooking, and then up and down camp. Up and down Saturday. And so this is what's happening. And some Niners fans are saying, Jimmy G's going to be bad. Some Niners fans are also saying that Jimmy G always does bad in training camp. Some Niners fans are like, hey, he always does bad in training camp, so this is not too big of a deal. That's what some of them are saying. Now, I think this is different because, if you're doing bad against the Niners defense, which has been the number 1 defense in the NFL, if you're doing bad in training camp with them, that's one thing. But doing bad against the Raiders defense, which I do believe the Raiders defense has gotten better, but there's no way you can go from last place to like top 10, right? Like if the Raiders defense got better, I'm assuming they're going, last place to maybe mid, right? So it's not the Niners defense. I hate to say it, but the Niners defense is better than the Raiders. I mean, that's not even controversial at all. I mean, come on. So he throws picks against the Niners in camp, and now he's throwing picks against the Raiders. Hopefully, it's just him being aggressive. We'll find out soon. And Van Rotten and Mumford are making their case to start on the right side. And Adam Hill, who did an article, he's from the LVRJ. He did an article yesterday saying that, it was a rough day for Jimmy. And then he reposted this saying, just to point out that today may have been worse. It may have been even worse than yesterday. Lord have mercy. That's not good. That's not good. And that is a recipe. This is going full circle all the way back to the beginning with Tedford. That is the recipe for this. When things are going that badly for Jimmy G, and today is even worse than yesterday, you got this right here. You got this right here. And Genius Josh, man, I want you to work out because it's just going to make life easier. But at this point, man, you got to help yourself at a certain point. And maybe he put too much in the Tom Brady sweepstakes, and that did not end up working out too nicely. That's what I think is quite possibly happening. I got to take a sip of water, though. I think I've been talking for a long time. Make some noise in the chat. Drop some emojis on the screen right now. Have a cold one. Maybe I need a brewski. Who knows? Get better. I feel fine, actually. I think I have not been talking for this long in a while. Because usually Audrey, on the game lives, Audrey is also on, so it's not too crazy for me. And I am sort of doing this. So we've been on for quite some time. We've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes. Shout out to everybody who's been hanging for an hour and 15 minutes. Over 400 people here, only 183 likes. I'd like to see them likes heat up. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Get these likes up. I'm down to stay on a little bit longer if we get to at least 250 likes. Let's get to 250 likes for all the people who just got here. But I try to go a little fast paced. That way for people who are watching this a little bit later, they can just sort of see the information, right? Oh my goodness, 196. We're almost there. Are you freaking kidding me? Are we gonna get there? Oh man. Going on. Did we lose Jacobs or not? Cut the bull. Guys, there's rumors going on. There's not rumors. There's reports that we talked about this at the beginning. 420 likes. Yes, let's get to 420 likes at least. We talked about this at the beginning, which is like, hey, we have not lost him yet. But there are reports out there that they are all interested. The Broncos and Chiefs are interested. If the Raiders rescind the tag, it looks like it's going in that direction where people believe they are going to rescind the tag. I mean, it is heading there, straight up. It is getting that nasty. So here's the thing, man. A lot of people, and I understand, like, people get frustrated at me with the videos because it's like, for instance, Jacobs. You know, Jacobs is leaving the team. You know, when you wake up in the morning and see that, that's going to make you upset. But it's like, it's the news. You know, it's the news. It's the reports that's coming out there. It's what the insiders are saying. And I wish it wasn't the case, and I wish it was all like great stuff. But, you know, it's not me. You know what I mean? I'm just reporting on what's happening. But I understand how people will get frustrated with me, and, you know, they think maybe I'm delivering it. But it's okay. It's okay. That goes down. That goes down. And honestly, I'd be heated too. Gotta love the Bulldog Saints Nation from Jameson Dynasty. Oh yes, Bulldogs. I got my Bulldog helmet right here. Finally got it, man. I've been wanting that helmet for some time. I appreciate you, Jameson Dynasty. But yeah, man. You know, these helmets actually, man. You gotta find a good deal. They could freaking cost a little penny sometimes. But I love that it's the old school Bulldog with the actual Bulldog on it, man. So, yeah, it was so cool. I can't wait to watch college football this year. And, yeah, the news is the news. Likes are free. Like we said, likes are free. We're at 237. Can we get to 250? Can we get to 250? Unfortunately, I did not get to go to Fresno State. I originally went to community college. And then I went to San Francisco State University. Oh, man. That school is all right. But we do have some good news. So if the defense is trending in the right direction, we do have some good news in terms of, you know, Marcus Peters. And I think him coming a part of the team is at least giving somewhat of a morale boost for Raider Nation, you know. And he talked about becoming a Raider, and he talked about how he said one thing, that his dad never got to wear his jersey because his dad only rocks Raiders jerseys, and now his dad could actually wear his jersey.
Hey, man. You know what I'm saying? This is something that was in me since I was a little kid. But it feels good to be a Raider now. You feel me? Be able to play the same uniforms that I watched growing up. You know what I'm saying?
All right, that was horrible volume. I'm gonna try to find something a little better. Okay, so here we go.
Happy are you that you're on the team that you grew up rooting for?
I was always a Raider, man. You know what I'm saying? It's something that was in me since I was a little kid. But it feels good to be a Raider now. You feel me? Be able to play the same uniforms that I watched growing up. You know what I'm saying?
He's got a little bit of allergies though right now, huh? I know what it's like to have the sniffles, dude. And that would suck to have to do a press conference, like if you got a runny nose or whatnot. But I mean, that's cool. I mean, he's at least giving a little morale boost. The cornerback room is young, and so, you know, he's at least able to teach some guys some things. And even though he's kind of coming back off injuries, obviously he's not in his prime. Intellectually, he's going to be able to help somebody like Jacorian Bennett, who's starting on the outside. Somebody like Nate Hobbs, who's still a young guy. Like he's it's a coach on the field, and sometimes I feel like, you know, you're going to respect a player and really listen to what he has to say, in lieu of some of these coaches who may have not played at a high level.
Your resume speaks for itself, but I'm just curious, having been be ready to go.
Out like what?
I'm sorry, sir?
Out like what? What I've been out of?
Well, I mean, because there was the off season.
Oh, okay.
Come in.
Yeah. I was working.
So this guy already does not like Hondo Carpenter. This guy's already a little annoyed with his question.
Having been out a while, how long does it take a athlete like you to be in game shape, be ready to go?
Out like what?
So Hondo's tried to say that he's like, you know, he's been out of it. How long does it take for him to get in game shape? And then Marcus Peters, look at his face. He's like offended, like, I'm out of what? I'm out of what? Yes, this is a meme right here. Go ahead and screen grab this, man. If you're freaking, yeah. Oh, hey, you got to be nice to veteran players because they don't give a shit anymore. They'll tell you what's up, these vets.
Sorry, sir?
Out like what? What I've been out of?
Well, I mean, because there was the off season.
Oh, okay.
Come in.
Yeah. I was working out.
Man. So what was that video? I showed this video in one of my videos where he like confronts a fan in the stand who was talking trash. I got to watch that right now because he's like, there's a lot of curse words though. So if you have kids around, like I wouldn't play it. I'll try to load it up. But I mean, bitch at, like there's a lot of stuff, and he walks up to the stands and like confronts this fan. So if you're a reporter there asking questions, a lot of these Raiders players have been quite nice when answering questions. You're going to need to watch your ass when talking to Marcus Peters because this dude he's kind of got a little bit, you know, is Marshawn Lynch's great friend, not blood cousins, but technically cousins in a more social relationship way. But this guy, he will call your ass out. So you better watch out there.
Yeah, I was just doing what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? Whoever the team was going to be, I was going to be ready. And this the team, so I'm going to be ready.
Yeah, so I'm very excited now because some of these reporters may have had it a little too easy lately, and I think Marcus Peters might let them know that you got to be on your toes if you're going to ask a question.
This game so far, just kind of jumping in and training.
It's football. I got a job to do, so I come in and I do my job.
What you see?
Scheme, yeah. So the question is Patrick Graham's scheme a little difficult? I do think, though, because Patrick Graham does a lot of man coverage, you know, that is going to suit Marcus Peters a little more than, you know, some other people. You know, Marcus Peters, like, zone, I think it can get a little too complicated, and press man coverage, I think it's simple, and his aggressiveness, his real good talent that I've always noticed from him is he knows how to get away with a little hold without getting a flag sometimes, and that really helps you out in some of that press man coverage.
For the defense, the last couple of days, look like you guys have been getting your hands on a lot of the balls.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the emphasis for us, man, we want to create turnovers as a defense. You know what I'm saying? We want to play fast, we want to communicate, and we want to show high effort. And I think we've been doing that so far.
So he's trying to be nice now, and let's see if we got some questions about his. I want to see the dad one.
Talk to them and lead them. Mm-hmm. How do you like that role, being kind of that veteran?
Yeah. It's kind of cool, you feel me? They call me OG and stuff now, you know what I'm saying, because I'm the oldest in the group now, you feel me? But it's cool, you know what I'm saying? I was in that position once.
I mean, players don't like being called old when they're in their 30s, because in real life, the 30s is not old. Come on, guys, right? It's not old.
You know what I'm saying? And Seattle the biggest blessing ever. Pass down some game and then you go see the, like you say, it's a young, talented group. All right. And,
okay, him up
talented, man. You know what I'm saying? They talented. It's like you say, it's a young, talented group. And I think that we just need to just keep building together.
Okay, so you know, you got to say those empty platitudes. Oh, we got a talented group. You know, you got to say that stuff, though. You know what I mean? All right, let's see what he said. I want to see the question about the dad, though.
How much does that encourage you and incentivize you to do the same?
Man, when I kind of knew Baltimore wasn't going to happen, you know, me and Max got the same ages and stuff. So I kind of, I just, you kind of get a feel of who you want to play with. And Max, one of them dudes that you want to play with. He leave it all on the field, and it shows in his play, and it shows in his effort. And
well, that's a good thing. If McDaniels can't recruit people and convince people to come play here besides former Patriots, well, at least Max Crosby can do some recruiting, and he was able to convince Marcus Peters to come out here.
It shows in his leadership. You feel me? He come to work every day, ready to work, and that's unique. And only a certain amount of people got that.
So we got another little GM. At least he's able to convince some people, Crosby. Because Ziegler, I don't know, man. The way he's handling the Jacob situation, it seems like he's not that convincing.
And for you to become a Raider, you or Marshawn?
I think this ain't got nothing to do with Marshawn. I think this got everything to do with me.
Oh,
leadership and experience. And who was more excited for you to become a Raider, you or Marshawn?
I think this ain't got nothing to do with Marshawn. I think this got everything to do with me. You know what I'm saying?
See, I think that was Paul Gutierrez. You got to watch your ass when you're talking to Marcus Peters and asking him questions. He's no bullshit. I like this guy.
It's just me. You feel me? I'm excited.
Quit talking about
Marshawn. We both come
Marshawn.
from Oakland, but yeah, this ain't got nothing to do with him. This is my journey.
He's his own man. This ain't quit bringing this media bullshit. Yes. I love this guy so far.
What are you bringing? What are you bringing then on this journey?
I mean, everything y'all, you feel me? Y'all know about me. You know what I'm saying?
6 touchdowns. Turnovers like you were.
Defense and
I want to see
I'd like to ask you about Jacorian.
Yeah.
Where's the dad one?
I tell everybody, gotta go want to pull it out the library. Every question he said most of the attention by information.
The Raiders. What are some fond memories that you have, whether it's just growing up watching the Raiders or playing against them?
The Tuck rule.
Tuck rule. And now we got the freaking Patriots in the house. But yeah, Tuck rule is one of his fondest memories. That's awesome.
Killed us, man. Oakland ain't been the same since. You feel me?
And by the way, who was? Could people let me know in the chat? Because I got memory issues sometimes. Can you let me know in the chat who was the coach of the Raiders during the Tuck rule? I just want to see that name in the chat real quick. Let me know. I will move on. You guys know I move on. I talk about the current Raiders and stuff. I just like to have some fun. No, it was not Madden. No, it was not Madden. It was not Tom Flores. No, it was not. Oh, that's so funny. Good old Gru.
But nah, you know what I'm saying, after that, I remember my pops and them, getting in their cars and driving to San Diego and going to the Super Bowl down there and stuff. And it's just, you know what I'm saying, it's just something that's in me. You know what I'm saying? Been as a little kid, riding the bus, you feel me, riding the BART, and being able to see in that stadium right there and seeing shit just historical.
So that was funny. I saw the video after the Chiefs-Raiders game. Marshawn Lynch and Marcus Peters, they ride the BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit, the subway thing there over there in Oakland and San Francisco. And when I saw them go to the BART, they jumped the turnstile. Look, I will admit I have jumped the turnstile at times when I've been hard up on money, especially in my extreme youth in my early 20s and teen years. But these guys are millionaires and they're jumping the BART style. Come on, bro. I know you have $5 to ride the BART here.
Stuff going on. It's a blessing, man, for a little kid come from West Oakland be able to be putting on his jersey now. You feel me? It's a blessing.
Well, West Oakland's nice now. It used to be a little more rough. Well, that's cool. Okay, that's good to see that, Marcus Peters. Giving the media a little Marcus Peters attitude, a little welcome to Marcus Peters moment there. You love to see it. And by the way, guys, send some links. If there's anything that you want us to talk about on this show, send some links. Let us know. I just decided to hang out here on a Saturday. I was going to make a video, but I kind of wanted to connect and talk to people. Okay, $5 is a lot of money, but not for a millionaire. When you're a millionaire like Marcus Peters and Marshawn Lynch, they could pay the $5. That's my point. Oh, so we have the video of Marcus Peters yelling at the fan. Okay. Oh, man, this one was good. I got to be careful with this, though, because it's TMZ.
If you are type 2 and take...
Yeah. I'll find a way to do it. Oh, yeah, it's a short video. Yeah. Okay, so the way that this worked out, he walks up to the fan, says that you got a problem. He's super heated. And by the way, if you have kids in the room who can't hear curse words, put it away. Calling him a square, talk that shit, and he's just like, dude, literally, like, the dude walks over from here, like he's, you know, like he's on this, he walks about like what, 20 feet and goes on over to this dude. That is freaking awesome. I want to see him do this to a Chiefs fan this year. That's the shit that I want to see. Come on, Marcus Peters, give it to us. We've been waiting for a corner with some swagger. You know, Nate Hobbs has some swagger, but we need another one too. So hell yeah.
Nigga, where you from, homie? Where you from, nigga?
Apparently that's that West Oakland over there. You got the West Oakland attitude right there. Hell yeah. And then you got to get taken back. Oh, is that Raheem Morris? I think that's Raheem Morris grabbing him there. Oh my goodness. Wow, that is so awesome though to see that. Just not giving, you know, the guy must have said something to really piss him off. I remember this video. You don't know what the guy said. Who knows what the guy said, but he definitely shut up.
Where you from, nigga? Where you from?
Okay, I don't want to get in trouble, all right? I don't want to get in trouble. Okay. Am I still good? Let's see my stream health. Okay, I'm still good. All right. But God, that video. So that's what I'm saying. These reporters who started asking these dumbass questions, you better watch out, or else he might call you square and maybe something else too. You know what I mean? So you better watch out there. I will say that. But glad that guy's a Raider finally, kind of, you know, capping off the latter part of his career, and you know, it's a positive thing. So that's the positive. Defense is doing well. Still shaky on the quarterback situation, but we do have the preseason game this Sunday. Hopefully somebody like Aiden O'Connell could shine. Hopefully Jimmy Garoppolo gets it together, but that's looking less likely day by day. You know what I mean? But Aiden O'Connell at least is looking nice, and we are going to be live on Sunday during this game. Raiders versus Niners preseason. We got the scrimmages coming up this weekend. We'll be giving you guys updates on Thursday and Friday on the scrimmages. And obviously, if anything happens with regards to Jacobs, and it looks like something may be happening soon with Jacobs, whether it be a trade, rescinding the tag, or him agreeing to play for the Raiders, I find that to be the least likely at this point based on some of the reports via a source that may or may not be his agent, you know. But if you missed the beginning of this video where we talked about Jacobs, be sure to check the beginning of this. Peace out, everybody, and I hope you have a good one.